Good afternoon, Guam and Hafaday. Jason Salas from KUAM News coming to you from the bowels, shall we say, of the Office of Civil Defense and Homeland Security here in Agana Heights. We are about 30 feet down. You've all seen this a bunch of times. You've basically a government house, and then there's this tiny little facility right next to it. But this is the interesting thing, my friends, because what most people do not see is this is the epicenter for all information. And we, of course, are coming to you with the very latest about the weather conditions that may or may not affect Guam over the next couple of days. Definitely our friends to the north in the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas Islands, our friends up in Saipan and some of the islands to the north of them, Agrihan and Atahan, those places, definitely want to watch out for that. There is a typhoon watch currently effect for those islands. For Guam, a tropical storm watch at the moment with what is projecting to be Tropical Storm Yutu, a very, very large weather formation expected to be big. We are going to take you inside the command center once again to get the very latest on the weather.
Thank you for coming. We're going to start pretty soon. Just as a reminder, bathrooms over here. In case of an emergency, do not use the elevator. Please keep your phones on silent. Media will be in the back. Please save your questions for the end of the presentation, please, until media clears out.
Presenter. You can load the slide. Share the slide.
Mr. Chip here.
Thanks everyone for coming today. It was up to me. I would do it earlier.
Give that to me, and I will.
But I'm a slave to Chip's guard appointment. So. Don't quote me on that.
No, the slide's here though.
You might.
Slide is there though.
Oh man.
You might sue me or something. Anyways, well, we'll try and get you out of here as quickly as possible so you can actually go and meet on if you have not done so. And like my folks here said, please hold your questions and we still will clear out the media. If you're not aware, we declared Governor Calvo and declared court free at 9 a.m. this morning. The question now is whether to go to court too.
Oh. Okay. So plan B. You just have to email the slides to all partners in the distro. You have the phone bridge on, but we cannot do that right now.
Oh, so we can't just use it how we normally do?
Yeah, so disable it and we'll just use that. So can you email
I emailed it to Ariel.
to all in the distro in the email?
All of here?
No, in the distro in the email.
Okay.
What's up, Chip? Media share.
Okay.
For those in the call, we apologize. We got some technical difficulties with our Adobe Connect here. But Mar, our planning section chief, would be emailing everyone in the distro the slides that will be taken up by Chief. May we know who are on the call?
It's a pretty personal question.
The GFO and
Thank you, JFO.
FEMA Region 9 Watch is on the call.
Thank you, Pima Watch. So you're going to be receiving the slides shortly.
I'll have to leave fairly fast. My pocket. What was that?
PNC.
PNC, okay.
The mic is hot.
Okay. Another pocket.
Make sure you don't
Pocket.
cuss there, Chip.
Sir?
No cussing allowed, okay?
I can just finger it. I can just finger it. There we go. Good noon. So we just got the information out, so we issued
Sorry, is it on?
maybe I should hold it up here. You think so?
Yeah.
She's so smart. Okay, so Yutu is continuing to move toward the Mariana Islands. We just got the information in for 6A, so this is advisory, intermediate advisory. And this is our storm down there, and you can see that it's winding up pretty well. And we just got a new microwave in that really shows it's winding up really well, but I didn't have time to put it in here. That's the visible. Here's the infrared, the color infrared, and the center is located right in there. A lot of lightning and thunder where that black area is, and this is the water vapor, and this shows us how complex the atmosphere is, and the system is adapting to this long wave trough over here, which is causing the steering to take it up toward the northern Marianas, but eventually to recurve into the westerlies. Although now it seems like it's doing it much farther west than it was initially. So the upper low that was here yesterday and was constricting the outflow is no longer there. In other words, it's moved out of the way. And in fact, there looks like there's a pretty good outflow channel there that is something that is favorable for rapid intensification. This is just a picture of the high resolution stuff that we had earlier this morning. This is a microwave picture, and this is almost completely enclosed the eye. We'd call this like a banding type eye, but that indicates that it's a typhoon, and they'll be upgrading it on the next warning. This is the scatterometer data. This shows you the winds associated or around the storm at the surface of the ocean. And the winds over here are fairly light. That doesn't mean they're going to be light when the storm gets here, but they're pretty strong over here. So probably our strongest winds are going to be once this thing starts moving through the Marianas and on this side. But if this fills in with convection, with thunderstorm activity, that's going to bring these strong winds down to the surface. So this thing is close enough that we have decided it was prudent to go ahead and go to a watch. This is the track, and you can see the typhoon is going very close to Saipan. And Typhoon Warning Center has kept us in and a little bit out here, back and forth of the damaging winds. They put out their wind field based on certain models. And based on the scatterometer data, these models right now are over forecasting over forecasting the size of the wind field, especially to the south. This is the uncertainty. We expect the tracks will stay inside this cone, and the storm's moving at about 14 miles an hour, so that's a pretty good clip. And when they're moving that fast, we don't expect a lot of erratic movement. As of 11 o'clock, the storm was located 11.5 north latitude, 151.6 east longitude. That's about 480 miles east-southeast of Guam, 465 miles east-southeast of Saipan and Rota, 470 miles east-southeast of Tinian, and 275 miles north of Chuuk. It's moving toward the west-northwest at 14 miles an hour. This last position makes it look like it's moving a little bit more toward the northwest. So it's moving at about 300 degrees. 304 degrees would flip it to northwest motion. So it's right on the edge of west-northwest to northwest. Of course, the more north motion it has, the better off we are. Current intensity 70 miles per hour. However, I got to tell you that the satellite indicates that it's a typhoon. And I'm sure that on the 2 o'clock advisory, they'll upgrade it to a typhoon intensity. Damaging winds, 75 miles west and 145 miles east. And so you can see there's quite a discrepancy there. Destructive winds 50 miles west, 60 miles east, and typhoon winds, when they occur, probably be about 20 miles outside they'll be on the outer edge of the eye. So Thursday morning around CPA, around 125 miles away. So onset of 39 mile per hour winds, midnight Wednesday night, early Thursday. We might have to move this up a little bit. Looks like it probably is going to come in more in the evening time. We're not expecting destructive winds on Guam at this time, and more typhoon force winds. And we are expecting, we could see some 40 mile per hour winds. That's right on the edge, maybe as high as 45. Could be 50 if this thing were to take a little dip to the west. 100 mile per hour winds, at least for Tinian and Saipan. So it's like a Sodalor storm, except it's a lot bigger. So out in the ocean, 30-foot seas, 10 to 12-foot surf for us, maybe a foot of inundation. That's what we expect at this time. We do have a full moon out there, so we're going to have extremely high tides. And these are that's our tidal information. Precipitation right now, because of the dry area down to the south and the fact that the monsoon is not well connected to the storm, we're not looking for a whole lot of rain right now, 2 to 3 inches. If the storm moves more to the south, we'll get more rain. If it moves more to the north, we'll probably get less rain. Flash flood products will begin on Wednesday if they're needed. That would be like a flash flood watch. Tropical storm watch is issued for Guam this morning. We're in Core 3. Typhoon warning is issued for Saipan and Tinian at 11 o'clock today, and they're going right to Core 2. Tropical storm warning for Rota, and they're going to Core 2. Planning, Guam could go to Core 2. We're going to watch that wind field really closely. If we do, it'd be tonight sometime. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that, because we just got that scatterometer data out, and so we'll have to reassess the wind field. And then later on, late tonight, Saipan and Tinian go to Core 1, Rota tropical storm Core 1. We'll closely monitor the system for more westward movement, faster movement, and more rapid intensification. You know, this is the month. This is the time period of the year October, November, where we have the biggest storms and where we have the strongest storms. So the conditions are set out there for this to be a fairly large and significant storm. And unfortunately, it looks like it's going to get fairly close to Saipan and Tinian. For us, we're going to expect tropical storm category A damage. You've seen that around, and some dead limbs, a few green palm fronds, light damage to poorly constructed buildings. Political signs, they better be pretty strong, or else I'd take them down. Damage to canopies, make sure they're well secured. See lots of leaves out on the roads and very strong rip currents. We always tell you to plan for one category higher. That's these winds. These are the destructive winds. Moderate damage to poorly constructed buildings. Could severely damage tarps and canopies. Lots of dead limbs and coconuts. Some green palm fronds are down bamboo. You know, last storm I was coming down the hill and that bamboo on Route 4, it hit my truck. So lots of leaves and some branches on the roads, and most signs will not survive unless they're well secured. It's going to be a low end typhoon category 4 at CPA. It's around 130 miles per hour. And gusts to 165 miles per hour. So worst conditions are going to be Wednesday night through Thursday, and keep alert for changes such as more westward movement, more rapid movement, more rapid intensification. Actually be worse for us if we have a less that slows down. They'll have more time to intensify. Updates will occur frequently now, every 3 hours. So that's about it. That's the best information we have right now. And I have a 1 o'clock with CNMI, so I have to get back over there. But I'll take some questions once the media gets out, and then I will meet with the media for a period of time, and then I have to get back and deal with the CNMI, who really does.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, watching right there, you got all the information from the man himself, Chip Guard. We're going to get a couple more minutes of his time, pull him aside, and find out what is going on. But for those of you who have just joined the live stream right now, Guam is, if you did not know already, in condition of readiness 3, what is now known as Tropical Storm Yutu. Chip, the scientist, they're already referring to it as a typhoon. The formation of the storm, because of the time of year and the location of it right now, very, very large at this point. He did mention that an eye is forming. This storm, as he said, has a more direct threat to Saipan and Tinian. Guam, he said, does not expect to get significant wind speeds. However, because as I speak right now, the general election for Decision 2018 is exactly 2 weeks away. Campaign signs, that is going to be a major concern over the next 36 hours or so. He was saying because the wind is expected to pick up here, but we are not expected to get typhoon force winds. Candidates are probably going to have to go out and at least secure those signs, maybe take them down. We'll find out what's going on with that. Chip's going to join us again momentarily. Thanks so much for just joining our live stream right now. We have just finished the heavy weather briefing for what is now known as Tropical Storm Yutu, expected to be upgraded to a typhoon possibly later on this evening, at least for Guam. Once again, more of a direct threat to our friends up north in the NMI, specifically Saipan and Tinian. Chip's coming out right now, so we'll try and get you up to speed again. Once again, condition of readiness 3 in effect on Guam. It's been that way since about 9 a.m. right now. If you look outside, the weather is pretty much stellar island weather right now. Nice and hot, nice and humid, but conditions may change. If you look at any of the tracks, and remember, you can actually go to weather.gov. Make sure to follow the links that we put on our Twitter feed. Updates every 6 hours. So you got 7 a.m., 1 p.m., 7 p.m., and 1 a.m., and they will show you the tracks, figure out where this thing's going. Again, Chip said this time of year, that's when storms are their strongest. That's when they are the largest. So there's a lot of activity right now, but again, the projections expected to be very, very consistent, and Guam not forecast, at least at this juncture, to be in the direct path of the storm. It's trending on a rather north by northwest track, which would put it, again, more in the direct line of our friends up in the NMI. Jenna, can I get you for a sec? Okay. Okay, Jenna Bloss from Civil Defense is here. Hi, thanks for hosting us once again.
Yes, of course.
We got to stop meeting like this.
I know. Thank you so much for coming.
I
down.
know. You can talk to us about soccer some other time or something.
Sure. So again, you just watched the heavy weather brief, and although we're not expecting typhoon force winds here on Guam, we just want to remind the community, continue your preparedness activities, making sure that you have your emergency preparedness kits available, your flashlights and batteries just in case power does fluctuate or go out. Do your laundry right now, again, just in case the power goes out. Gas your vehicles, get some extra fuel for your generators, and just be prepared in the event the storm does track a little bit more south. So just stay up to date as much as possible.
Okay, and then Chip was saying they do probably anticipate. It's there's a little bit of wiggle room right there, so he doesn't want to nail us to a particular time or condition, but condition of readiness 2 possibly by tonight, just to be on the safe side, right? People hear condition 2 and they get really, really, really leery about stuff. So what does that mean when we actually go to condition of readiness 2?
So condition of readiness 2, government of Guam operations obviously shut down. Those that live in substandard housing, emergency shelters might be made available to them. So again, all of those discussions will be made immediately after this heavy weather brief with leadership, with Governor Calvo, as well as Joint Region Marianas Commander.
Yeah, now that's kind of like a dicey situation. I know we were talking to some people earlier on Facebook because people were like, okay, if we go to condition of readiness 3 at 9 a.m. in the morning, all the kids are in school.
Right.
When do we know if schools are going to be prepped? And that's why Chip was saying possibly if we do go to Core 2, it'll probably be tonight after everybody's home safe, get school staff, faculty members get a chance to properly prepare the school if we need to get to that point.
Right, and those are those are decisions that are going to be made pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else uncommon with this storm that you can tell us right now? Because you've been here since the very beginning, and it's not like we just decided to do this for honks and giggles like yesterday and everything.
Right.
You guys have actually been keeping an eye on this for quite some time.
Yes, and we'll continue to do so. So again, just stay up to date with all of the latest information. A lot of the information that's already been posted might be outdated, so it's really important to make sure you pay attention to those timestamps and those dates, because a lot of misinformation might be shared, and it's happened in the past. So it's important to make sure you pay attention to those timestamps on there.
Okay. One thing that Chip really emphasized, and I thought he was really smart to do so, was campaign signs. And he was like, okay, there's a lot of really big signs. And he even said, he's like, the one thing we can be certain of is, at least with the weather picking up here, and we are getting into the heat of the election season, so people are putting up these really big signs. There's some pretty interesting angles. He's like, those signs probably should be taken down, or at least very well secured.
Right, and that's part of our preparedness messaging, is anything that's not made to withstand, you definitely want to either take it down or secure it properly. Again, a lot of these are on private property, so it's important to assess each sign accordingly and make sure that you have all of your preparedness activities in place.
Yeah, I was going to ask that because, so say if I've got a particular candidate sign on my residence, is that up to me to take it down, or should I call the candidate themselves, or can I call my mayor and just wonder about that?
That's at the discretion of the resident. It is on their private property, so we'll let them make those decisions.
Okay, so I think Chip is there. Chip is coming out. So here he is. Thank you, Jenna. Okay, so Jenna Bloss once again. Chip. How are you?
Good.
All right, very, very, very well. Okay, the man of the hour, as it were.
I don't know about that.
Well, they have you live, Chip.
I know that, yeah. So we're live on Facebook right now, so
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so I remember when we were actually talking to you, we did an interview with you maybe about 6-7 months ago in the spring, and you were actually saying that based on your projections, Guam's El Nino season this year was going to be particularly active. It seems like that would be the case over the last maybe 6-7 weeks or so.
Yeah, no, we were expecting an active season, mainly because we were expecting an El Nino to develop. And although officially it hasn't developed, the patterns associated with El Nino have developed. And we'll probably go into an official El Nino in the next month or so. But
Okay.
But the patterns are already there, and we're seeing storms develop more to the east of us. And when they get to the southeast of us, since they want to move toward the northwest naturally, we're going to be in the path. So yeah, it was a good predictions. I'd rather not make them like that, but
Yeah.
I'm glad they were accurate. So
Okay. Well, speaking of accuracy, you were saying that right now for the track over maybe the last 24 hours, and so this thing seems to be heading maybe right in between our friends up north in Saipan and Tinian. Your own words, you said Guam is in pretty good condition right now, but Saipan it really has cause to be concerned.
yeah. The track is taking it very close to Saipan, In fact, part of the eye wall cloud will be over Saipan if it keeps on this track. It's just right. The center is just right off the north shore of Saipan. So as this thing moves through, if it takes a little more westward jet, then it's going to be a direct hit for Saipan. And if it moves a little more to the north, it'll be much better for Saipan and Tinian. But this storm would be like a Sodalor in terms of intensity, but it's much larger. Mm-hmm. So it's going to do more damage. And when Sodalor hit Saipan, didn't do anything to Tinian. Mm-hmm. This storm will be probably a little bit different than that, significantly different, especially if it makes a direct hit on Saipan.
Okay. And at the beginning of your presentation, you were saying that it looks like, just based on the radar data, there's a lot of lightning, there's a lot of thunder within the storm right now. It's got patches of that. Do you expect that to be the case as it moves more towards dry land, or will we see like more rain or more wind?
No, this is in the core of the storm. We're seeing some really cold clouds, and associated with those cold clouds frequently is lightning, and when we start to see intensification, especially rapid intensification, we'll see a buildup of lightning out in that. As far as our area is concerned, we can still see lightning in the rain bands, and there's a pretty good band to the south. Right now it's down toward Chuk. It's kind of the monsoon feeding into the storm. It's not a real strong monsoon, but as the storm moves more toward the west, it'll start to drag that stuff up toward our area.
One thing also I found was interesting is you were saying as the storm continues, like I'm doing this reverse, like it goes northwest towards us and the NMI, the nature of the storm, it may actually maybe double back on itself a little bit?
Well, we call that recurvature. And
okay.
What recurvature is once it gets far enough north and it gets around, see, there's a big high pressure cell to the north, and south of that high pressure cell, there's easterly winds that are driving the storm toward the west. But north of that high pressure cell, there's westerly winds. Mm-hmm. So once it gets caught up in the westerly winds, then it's going to cause it to move back toward the east. Mm-hmm. And so probably move around the northern islands of the northern Marianas and then well off the coast of Japan, but back toward open ocean.
Okay, well, Chip, thanks as always. We keep making this joke every time. We got to get together and play tennis or something, or do something other than talk about what Mother Nature has in store for us.
Tennis would be great, and I'm not sure that we'll go to a warning tonight, for Guam. So after every advisory, we put them out every 3 hours now. Just take a look and see what the advisories say, but if we decide that we need to go to a warning, we'll let the Homeland Security know well before hand, and they can start cranking up to adapt to those decisions.
Okay, Chip, thanks so much. Good man.
Okay.
All right, so that was Chip Gard. Once again, he's bringing us all the information about what you need to know about what is Tropical Storm Yutu. We have all the information. We have links on our Twitter feed. You can check us out on Facebook. If you are on Guam right now and watching us, everybody is intimately concerned. Will it hit us? It's all up in the air right now, literally. I wish I could have phrased it better like that, but Guam does not seem to be in the direct path. Our friends up in Saipan and Tinian, you need to be prepared. Start getting everything ready. Please make sure that your houses are secured. Same thing for Guam. Jenna was even saying, Jenna's off camera right there, but political signs probably need to be taken down. I can say that's pretty much a guarantee. You need to secure those signs. If you have loose metallic debris around your house, you want to make sure that that is secured. You want to get some batteries. You want to fuel all of your vehicles, and you want to make sure that you have adequate water, because if the water goes out, we don't know what's going to happen in the next few days, but we will be here giving you all the information as it's made available to us. So we got a lot of work to do, and we got a lot of praying to do. So we will pray for our friends up in the NMI. We'll get ready. I'm Jason Salas reporting from Civil Defense in Agana Heights. Stay safe, Guam.